You know, where would the community be at in your mind now? Was that no questions?
Respectful and understanding of differences and compassionate and still advancing our agenda. Whereas those who have been opposed to this agenda over the years have not been quite that way.
Thomas and Trumpet, tell me why you're doing beautiful music. What do you think you're doing? Thomas and Trumpet, I wish you wouldn't play. Thomas and Trumpet, tell me why you're doing beautiful music. What do you think you're doing? Thomas and Trumpet, I wish you wouldn't play. Trumpet, gets me feeling early, playing these sweet things, always something hurry. Thomas and Trumpet, I think I'll throw you away. Thomas and Trumpet, gets me feeling early, playing these sweet things, always something hurry. Thomas and Trumpet, I think I'll throw you away.
You have to kind of challenge the question as well, sort of where has the community gone? The community is greater and more visible than it has been before. It's just far more diffuse. It's just far more diverse in terms of how it manifests. If you had asked a similar question 20 years ago, we all would have been sort of channeling our answers in terms of, well, okay, is everybody going to the Wild Rose? Okay, well, what about the people who aren't drinking? Where are the Al-Anon meetings? You know, where's the Al-Anon Club meeting? Is LSB Theater still as strong as everybody wants it to be? Are people going to a particular event? And then there were Seattle Rain games, and that's where everybody went, right? And then Seattle Storm games. And it is a little bit more diverse now in terms of how people are living their lives and realizing that by being out in that life, they have an impact in areas where probably people never really thought about whether it mattered if you were a lesbian or not.
If you don't, you're gonna drive me crazy. You're gonna drive me crazy.
The O's and yin yang to this issue that in all social movements, the more oppressed you are, the more you have a sense of community. Because if you can't be out or you can't be in different disciplines, different occupations, you don't have all those freedoms to move about society freely in different ways, then by the very nature of that, you end up clustering. So have your community, whether it's a religious institution on Sundays, or where you volunteer, or arts community you participate in, or going to storm games, whatever it is, people find their sense of community in a different way. So I think it's a good problem to have, and if we didn't have it, it means we would still be in a world of hurt in terms of our ability to be full.
So before I can even get to the lesbian part, there's the whole, the African American and all this assumption part. So, and I choose not to put myself into a box. And a lot of time, purposely, I don't say I'm a lesbian. I want someone to really get to know me and base their judgments on who I am as a human being.
some trumpet. I was some trumpet. I was some trumpet. I was some trumpet.
We started a clothing company 10 months ago, and so we get a lot of questions, is it a lesbian clothing company? And we're, oh, because it's owned by lesbians, no, it's for tomboys. And I think that, people have different perceptions of that when they see Naomi and I, we're a couple and we have these clothing stores, so it's got to be close to lesbians. And so we kind of deal with that, but it's really interesting to me also in terms of the enthusiasm that people get for the name, for the brand TomboyX, and they are identifying. So people are seeing a piece of themselves in a brand in a way that is empowering, which has been a nice side of what we wanted to do.
I was some trumpet. I was some trumpet. I was some trumpet. And if you don't, you're gonna drive me crazy. I was some trumpet. Tell me why you're doing beautiful music. What do you think you're doing? I was some trumpet. I wish you wouldn't play. I was some trumpet.
And one of the great things about it is that we build that community afterwards, that there's a place that we have to come talk about issues that we do have. It's a safe space, and I think I'm seeing more people build these type of spaces where they do have the opportunity to have these type of conversations.
I wish you wouldn't play.
Involved in the Lesbian Avengers in New York City, and we talked about the word dyke because I'm a journalist and I'm also lesbian, and I also was curious why some of us use that word and some don't, why some gay men think that that's derogatory as opposed, and some women too think it's derogatory, and others that that's what they are. So I think it's fascinating, and maybe having a discussion around that would be a really interesting topic.